Part 2 of Ouija board demon terrorized Liverpool family. She got to the top of the stairs and peered round. There was nothing there. She went back downstairs. For the rest of the night it was quiet and uneventful. Somehow she managed to fall asleep. The next morning she told her husband about the past week's events. He just laughed and said it was probably one of the kids pranking her. He suggested she was watching too many horror films, or it could just be an overactive imagination. The husband then suggested that he would sleep downstairs in the parlor that night and catch them in the act. The next night, the husband had his first interaction with the demon. Whilst brushing his teeth, he was looking in the mirror. The burnt and blackened face of the creature suddenly appeared in the mirror for a split second. The husband thought his own imagination was now overreacting, due to the conversation earlier with his wife. Returning downstairs to the parlor, he fell asleep almost instantly. 2 hours had barely passed when he was awoken by the sound of footsteps running up and down the stairs. Leaping from the couch, he raced out into the hallway just as the footsteps were coming down the stairs. He stood there and started blinking as he was convinced there was a problem with his eyesight. He could hear the sound but could not see anyone there. The running continued down the stairs, closer and closer till the sound hit the bottom stair, where he was standing. He recoiled with fear, expecting someone to run into him, but it didn't. Back up the stairs, the sound of the footsteps went. He tracked the sound but still could not see anything. As the noise reached the top stair, it ceased. For a few seconds, it was deadly quiet again. The husband stood there, trying to make sense out of what had just happened. He glanced back up the stairs and saw a dark figure. It seemed to drag itself slowly from round the corner of the landing wall. The demon stood at the top of the stairs, perfectly still, the black and charred skin highlighting the red, shiny, blistering tears throughout its deformed body. It exploded into a sprint, and as it came tearing down the stairs, the husband's fight or flight response kicked in. He ran back into the parlor, absolutely terrified, barricading the door with anything and everything he could grab at. Sweat running down his entire body, heart pounding in his chest and head, hands shaking uncontrollably and frantically looking for more furniture to block the door with. After a few minutes of this, he had run out of furniture, but the door was blocked. He still stayed by the door, pushing his weight into the mountain of furniture just to make sure nothing was getting in. 5 or so minutes passed, and he noticed it had been quiet. He moved himself to the middle of the room slowly and keeping his eyes on the door. Trying to rationalize what had just taken place, he started pacing back and forth, unsure of what to do next. Out the corner of his eye, he spotted something, and instantly the fear came rushing back. He knew it was that nightmarish creature. Turning slowly towards the mirror on the wall, the demon was waiting in the reflection, its hideous face etched with pure evil. Snarling and snapping at him, a face that had never been human. Suddenly, it let out a piercing howl that would turn your blood to ice. It sounded like thousands of people all screaming in agony at once. Then it screamed at the husband. "Get out," with a deep and guttural voice. It felt like it had skinned his soul alive. Again it repeated its menacing request. "Get out." Then one final unnatural howling scream, "Get out." With that, the husband turned for the door and started frantically ripping at the barricade, making sure he was getting out of that room. He felt like he had been there forever. Once he got out of the parlor, he ran straight out of the house and into the night. The next morning, he wearily returned home. His wife was in the kitchen tidying round. She remarked on how she had never seen him up this early in her life. When she turned to look at him, she knew something was wrong. He was pale and looked worn out, like he had not slept at all. He blurted out his ordeal from the night before, then said that they should move house. His wife suggested they go to their local church first and see if they could help. Later that day, whilst the wife was tidying around the teenagers' rooms, she discovered something alarming under her youngest daughter's bed. There was a Ouija board and planchette, tarot cards, and also an occult book. She went straight to her husband and showed him what she had found. Shortly after that, the parents visited their local church and spoke with a priest. After hearing their story, he decided he would go to their house and bless the rooms. Whilst there, he would assess if anything else needed to be done. That night, the parents sat their children down and explained the dangers of using occult items. Their daughter explained Margaret had given her the items and how they were just practicing spells to gain wealth and other material items. The mother was very angry and shouted at her. She was never to bring Margaret to the house and not to associate with her. Furthermore, she made it clear that no one was to ever bring anything of that nature into the house again, or mess around with that stuff. The next morning, the priest arrived early. He blessed all the rooms of the house without any incident, and as such felt no further action was needed. He removed the occult items and gave the family some crucifixes to hang in all the rooms, some holy water vials and prayer cards. After this, the demon never returned. The house and family got back to normal in time, but they would never forget. If you would like to see more videos like this one, please like and subscribe to Epic Mythic Folklore. Don't forget to turn on notifications to get the latest videos.